Welcome back, dear friends, to Legends and Lore Stories. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and share your thoughts in the comments below, because your support keeps this channel alive, and it inspires us to bring you even more heartfelt tales. Today's story is one that will stir your emotions, touch your heart, and leave you reflecting long after it ends. So, let's dive right in. I still remember the day when I met David, after a very long time. He looked different, older perhaps, but the warmth in his eyes was the same. As soon as he saw me, he walked over with excitement, hugged me tightly, and insisted that we sit together in a nearby cafe. He ordered a cup of tea for me, but to my surprise, none for himself. I chuckled and asked, "Aren't you going to drink tea?" He gave a small smile and replied, "Sir, it's been years since I stopped drinking tea." His words struck me as odd, because I knew David well. He had always been crazy about tea. I looked at him curiously and asked, "Why did you quit? Did your health force you to?" For a moment, I thought maybe too much tea had caused some medical issue, but then, his answer came softly, and it puzzled me even more. Half a cup of tea left me incomplete. It wasn't just his words, it was the way he said them. His expression carried an ache. His eyes shimmered with a quiet pain. That single line hinted at a deeper story, something hidden behind his laughter. I leaned closer and said seriously, "Tell me everything, David. I want to know the full story." He nodded slowly, and his gaze wandered off, as though he was seeing images from the past. Then he began. "Back then, every morning started with a simple routine. Whenever I sat down to drink my tea, she would appear playful, full of life, mischievous yet innocent. She had this habit of waiting until I lifted my cup, then suddenly popping out of nowhere, declaring in her sing-song voice, half. It became her signature phrase. At first, I was annoyed. Who likes to have their cup snatched away? But she wouldn't stop. She would stare at me with those sparkling eyes, refusing to leave until I left half of the tea for her. And eventually, like a cat pouncing on its prey, she would grab the cup and drink it, with a satisfaction that made her giggle. In the beginning, it irritated me. I thought she was silly, maybe even a little childish. But slowly, very slowly, I grew used to it. Without even realizing, I started leaving half a cup for her myself. It was as if our mornings were incomplete without this strange ritual. She was vibrant, so full of energy, always finding ways to turn the house upside down with her liveliness. My parents adored her. They said she brought joy into our home. But for me, it was complicated. I didn't know what to do with the storm she carried in her laughter. Sophia had not always lived with us. She was actually our close relative, sent from her village so she could continue her college education in the city. My parents were chosen as her guardians, even though her uncles lived nearby, because her father trusted us more than anyone else. At first, she seemed quiet and reserved, a little shy, as though she was unsure how to adjust to a new home. I remember thinking, good, maybe she's serious and calm. That will suit me well, since I'm serious myself. But that illusion shattered within the first week. It happened one morning when I was sipping my tea peacefully. Out of nowhere, she snatched a cup right from my hand, made a funny face, and exclaimed, "That's enough. How much tea are you going to drink? You've been hogging it all this time without even asking me." I sat frozen, completely stunned, as my mother burst into laughter. That moment marked the beginning of Sophia's transformation. Day by day, she blossomed into herself, shedding all shyness, turning the house into her own stage. Within a month, it no longer felt like she was a guest. It felt like we were the outsiders, and she was the rightful owner of the home. My parents adored her. They defended her every mischievous act, no matter how absurd it seemed to me. Whenever I argued, they'd remind me that she was young, playful, and full of life, and that I should learn to tolerate her. Truthfully, she was a whirlwind, a storm that swept through the house, filling it with laughter, music, and chaos. And though I pretended to be annoyed, deep down, I was affected by her presence in ways I didn't fully admit to myself. Sophia didn't just charm my parents. She even took responsibility for chores that I never thought she would. She cleaned rooms, washed clothes, ironed them neatly, even helped my mother in the kitchen. Whenever I protested, she would smirk and tease, "What do you do for the house, David? At least I earn my place." I used to counter with, "And who drives you to college every day like a chauffeur? Maybe you should thank me once in a while." She would laugh, stick her tongue out, and say, "You're just like a servant yourself." I'd grit my teeth, wishing I could push her off the rooftop, but, of course, it remained just a fantasy. Despite our constant bickering, I was her driver, escorting her to and from college every day. My protests fell on deaf ears at home. My parents insisted it was no trouble, since our colleges were close to each other. Sophia, on the other hand, enjoyed every bit of my irritation, mocking me endlessly during our rides. She loved reading, devouring books, novels, newspapers, anything she could get her hands on. And she especially adored love stories, which made me roll my eyes. Yet, when it came to tea, she declared it to be her second love. Whenever I asked her about the first, she would smile mysteriously and keep quiet, leaving me curious, restless, and strangely affected. Time passed quickly, and Sophia became a part of our lives so naturally that I almost forgot she wasn't permanent. She had come only for 2 years to finish her degree. My parents admired her, often praising her kindness, her energy, her love for books. But deep down, I knew one truth: sooner or later, she would have to leave. And that truth hurt more than I was willing to admit. One evening, as we rode to college, she suddenly turned to me and said quietly, "David, I'll be going back home soon. This time, not just for a visit, but for good." Her words hit me like a stone. I already knew it, but hearing her say it aloud made my chest tighten. She forced a smile and added, "Forgive me if I ever hurt you. Maybe I said too much. Maybe I laughed too much at your expense. But, I never really meant harm." Her smile trembled. It wasn't the lively laugh I knew. It was hollow, forced, and it broke something inside me. For the rest of that ride, she stayed silent. At the college gate, she gave her usual goodbye. "Take care. See you tomorrow, David." But her voice carried a heaviness I had never heard before. I called her name, chased her down, and stood in front of her. "Look at me," I said softly. She hesitated, but slowly lifted her gaze. Her eyes were red, her lashes wet. "Why are you crying?" I asked, my own throat tightening. She shook her head and whispered, "No reason." Just like that. Then she hurried inside, leaving me frozen at the gate. Days turned into weeks. Then her father arrived to take her home. I still remember his words to my parents. Many warned me not to send Sophia here. They said she might disgrace me, bring shame upon our family. Even my brothers disagreed. But I trusted her, and I trusted you. And today, I'm grateful. She proved my trust was not misplaced. You protected her honor, as if she were your own daughter. My parents' eyes shone with pride, but my heart sank. For me, it wasn't just the end of her stay, it was the end of something unspoken, unfinished. That evening, as we all sat together for tea, Sophia kept glancing at me. Her cup sat untouched, while mine rested half full. Suddenly, my phone buzzed. It was a message from her. "Half cup. One last time, please." My chest tightened. I placed my cup down, half full, snapped a quick photo, and sent it to her. She smiled faintly, then picked up her cup and drank quickly. Though the tea was already cold, she left soon after, but not before quietly taking my half-finished cup with her. That night, and many nights after, I held the memory of that last half cup, as though it were the final piece of her I could keep. Months passed after Sophia left, but the house never felt the same. It was strange before she came. There were only 3 of us at home, and life was steady, predictable. But after she went away, it felt emptier than ever, as if even the walls were mourning her absence. My parents tried to hide it, but I could see they missed her too. For me, every morning tea was torture. Each time I lifted the cup, my eyes would wander, expecting her to appear suddenly, to laugh, to say, half, but the corners of the house remained silent. The girl who had once turned my mornings upside down was gone, and I was left with nothing but a half-filled cup and an emptier heart. 2 months later, I heard from her only a few times. Then, one day, she came back briefly with her cousin for some shopping. I was drinking tea when the door opened, and there she was, stepping inside like a vision I had been craving. My hand trembled, and the cup nearly spilled over. I thought she would rush toward me, her old mischievous tone ready to say half. But instead, she greeted me politely, seriously. She looked different, quieter, heavier in spirit. When I teased her, half, she smiled faintly and said, "I don't drink tea anymore." Those words shook me. Tea had been her so-called second love, yet she abandoned it completely. Later, when I asked her why, her answer broke me. "David, tea was never my love. You were tea. Only became important because you loved it. If my first love isn't mine, then the second has no meaning either." Her confession left me speechless. I knew about her engagement done years ago with her cousin. Without her consent, she admitted that her heart had chosen differently, but her fate wasn't in her hands. "I couldn't defy my family," she whispered, "but my heart chose you." I wanted to fight, to beg her to refuse the marriage, but I couldn't. The thought of her father's honor breaking, of people mocking him, was unbearable. So I stayed silent, letting her slip away, both of us carrying the weight of sacrifice. But fate had its own plans. Months later, I received a call from David. His voice was trembling, yet full of joy. "Sir, I'm finally complete. My wedding is next week." I asked, almost breathless. With whom? He laughed softly and said, with Sophia. I froze, stunned. He explained that her fiancé had refused the marriage, claiming she could no longer be trusted because she had lived with us for 2 years. Cruel words, but in a strange twist, they freed her. People will call us bad anyway, David said. So why not be bad for ourselves, for our happiness? At least this way, we're finally good for each other. When I met him again later, he was sitting in a cafe with Sophia, both sharing 1 cup of tea, each drinking half. He smiled and said, "Sir, I only drink half a cup outside. At home, we always drink 1 cup together, half and half." His face glowed with peace, with wholeness. And in that moment, I realized sometimes love doesn't need to conquer the world. Sometimes, love just needs a half cup, shared between 2 hearts, to feel complete. Dear friends, that was today's story, Half a Cup of Tea. If it touched your heart, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support means the world, and it inspires us to bring you even more heartfelt stories. Until next time, take care of yourselves, and remember, even half a cup can carry the taste of a lifetime. Goodbye, and God bless.